Welcome to the Stogie Palace. I'm your host, Chris. Today I have a pretty long name for a cigar. This is the Drew Estate, My Uzi Weighs a Ton, Kentucky Fire Cured, Just a Friend. As you can see on the cigar, it says MUWAT there below Kentucky Fire Cured. That's for the My Uzi Weighs a Ton. This is sort of an offshoot from that cigar, which is a very good one of my favorites. The My Uzi Weighs a Ton. So with this one here, when I heard about it, I was looking forward to it quite a bit because there's some similarities. You got the San Andres wrapper. Doesn't smell like it. It smells like some barbecue, really. I mean, when I did a bullet cut there, the taste of it, everything reminds me of a barbecue shop right down the street from me. We get these baby back ribs with maybe a little bit of a char on the ends. You can kind of get that little burnt flavor in there too. It's exactly what it tastes like and smells like. So most of my reviews is the first time I've ever smoked something. This is the second time I smoked one of these. First one was a year ago, and it was a Fat Molly, which is a Robusto, and I was not impressed. It started off well, but it just got gradually worse and worse and worse. So I'm giving it another shot. I got this from the Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival where Jonathan Drew was there at that. And these go for about $9 in Cigars International. This is a 6x52. The Just a Friend is a Toro, rated as medium to full, although I've seen some reviews say it was more like mild to medium. Been sitting in the humidor for about a month. So let's give this thing a whirl. Part of the reason why I was looking forward to it so much is because of the description of it. It's like, I like hickory, I like barbecue, I want to try something with some American tobacco in there, fire cured. The whole concept sounds really cool. But man, was I disappointed. Granted, I smoked it right from the cigar shop, didn't rest at all, but you know, it was in the cigar shop. It shouldn't have needed it. I've heard of burn issues with these, mainly when they were first blending it, not after they released it. But this one here is a little sluggish to get going here, I'll tell you that. There we go. So, from DrewEstate.com, what they have to say about this. Kentucky Fire Cured is not something new to the world of tobacco. It's been around, grown for over 200 years. Easily compared to the smoky taste attributed to a peaty Scotch. And I'll pause there. That's the other thing that I was looking for. I like a peaty Scotch. The more peatier, the better. There's this one I like drinking, the single malt, and it tastes like a campfire in your mouth. The KFC picks up nuances of the roasted hickory, oak, or maple wood that makes you say, damn, that's tasty, according to Jonathan Drew. As soon as I took it out of the cellophane, it was a blast, and I was of aroma, and I was taking a picture of it, and I was doing some other things. I kept, what's that smell? You know, and it was on my fingers. It was like as if I picked up a rib. So far, not getting too much. That's okay though, because I remember this one. What other people have noticed that the wrapper is different color at the top than it is the bottom. It's hard to tell in here. It's not the greatest lighting in the world. Under magnifying glass, I might be able to see. I'm not seeing it so much right now. Not a bad aroma or flavor. Seems like a pretty good performance so far. Good burn. Smoke coming out both ends. Cigars International, about this, they have to say, generally speaking, the offerings in the Drew Estate portfolio are pretty unique. That has a lot to do with why the brand is so damn popular to begin with. But now this latest line extension to My Uzi Weighs a Ton has taken things to a whole new level, taste-wise. This phrase gets thrown around a lot, but this time it couldn't be more accurate. You've never tasted anything like this before. I can say I've never smelt anything in a cigar like this before. So often with cigars, the cold draw before light up and the smell of it sometimes never comes close to what the actual cigar is like once it's lit. So far, I'm not really getting a whole lot of the flavor or aroma of barbecue. Definitely was before it was lit. They continue, the biggest difference with Kentucky Fire Cured is the inclusion of, you guessed it, American Fire Cured tobacco leaves from Kentucky and Virginia. While normally tobacco is air cured, air cured, these special leaves are left to hang in specially constructed curing barns. The process dates back more than 200 years, and that imbues each leaf with a rich, smoky, slightly sweet flavor that boasts exceptional balance and uniqueness. Notes of oat, hickory, and maple lace sweetness explode on the palate. These leaves are joined by Nicaraguan and Brazilian Matafina long fillers, along with an oily San Andreas Maduro wrapper. This finished product is like nothing else on the market. Been looking for a totally uncommon taste experience that'll blow your hair back? You just found it. This is made by Hoya de Nicaragua, or at least in their factory. Well, I'll have to get a little bit further into it because I'm not really getting a whole lot of flavor in there. The aroma, I'm picking up the San Andreas, which I've seen some websites dispute that, but I've seen more that don't. I think it's even on Drew Estate's site they mentioned that, and there was some mystery at the beginning. Early reviewers of what this thing was even made of. So, well, let's keep on going and see what happens. About 35 minutes into this, almost 40 now into this KFC. Performance has been really, really good. Even burn line, great draw, great smoke output. Aroma is interesting. I'm occasionally getting the San Andreas, really nice aroma, but it's mixed with something that sort of brings it down a notch. It's very similar to my Uzi Weighs a Ton, as it should be. But there's just that other stuff on the inside, I assume it's the fire cured, that it's, once in a while, it gives me a little whiff of maybe burnt plastic, not really any of the barbecue or peaty stuff. Can't really complain about the performance though, and it hasn't been as bad as I remember it being before. Granted, that was a whole year ago and a whole lot of cigars in between. What I will say that I do appreciate is that it's not a sweetened tip. It's not infused. From anything I've read online, I've seen imbued, but I've not seen infused. So, the Drew Estates that aren't infused and sweetened tips, for the most part, I like, especially my Uzi Weighs a Ton. The ones that are the acid, the ones that are infused in the overly sweetened, saccharine type of tips, I cannot stand. Just for the record. So that's not this, which is good. For about a third there, I was getting some bitterness on the finish, but that went away. It lasted for a little bit, but not too long. But it's a very good performer, I'll say that. So, just not getting a whole lot of flavor out of that. And the aroma is a mixed bag. So, let's keep going. Just about an hour into this Kentucky Fire Cured. I noticed a little bit of a change in the flavor. I noticed the peatiness is trying to come through now. And the cocoa stuff I really like about the San Andreas is backing off. But I'm getting to the point where on a lot of pictures of this cigar, I noticed the band or the wrapper changes to a darker color. So don't know what that means. Anyway, still performing real well. Ash just fell off. It's holding on really well. Still great draw, smoke output. Aroma is changing a little bit, but so far it's not too bad. Let's see. This is the point where with the other one it started going downhill. So we'll see what happens. Well, I'm going to wrap up this review of this Drew Estate, my Uzi Weighs a Ton, Kentucky Fire Cured, Just a Friend. right around where that wrapper shift was, it got a lot more difficult on the draw. It was, I have to chalk it up to tar buildup, because the punch cut was, that's the only downside sometimes of those little punch cuts, is that same thing with some torpedoes, is that the tar buildup at the end there can start affecting the draw, and then at the burnt end, it was getting really hard as a rock there, and eventually it was nearly impossible to keep going. So I assumed there was some tar buildup there. Scraped it out, relit it, and I did a V-cut there. As soon as I did the V-cut, that opened it up. That helped for sure. Scraping it out and relighting it helped for sure. And the peatiness definitely was trying to come through. I was starting to get more of those barbecue flavors again towards the very end. I'm getting a little bit of that now. But I don't think personally that really helps the flavor. I think just the straight My Uzi Weighs a Ton is quite a bit better. So let's get through it here. Appearance, pretty nice looking cigar. Wrapper's holding up great. Band, simple, but it's meant to be for what it is. Burn, it was even, didn't really canoe at all, but yeah, that wrapper change there at the end affected things. Aroma, well, I talked about that already. And the burnt plastic, to me, is more of a kind of a leather. To me, it's more like a faux leather. That plasticky kind of smell you get off of faux leather. That's when I say leather, that's kind of what I'm getting. That's probably why leather's not one of my favorite smells, taste. As far as taste, once in a while a little bit of bitterness, but not really too much of that, but also not that nice San Andreas, or just occasional peatiness was coming through. Overall, I end up scoring this a 91, which isn't too bad. I mean, the performance is probably, except for here at the end, performance is definitely a high spot. I like easy draws, or not too easy, perfect draw really, and then I like a lot of smoke output. Points for them, to them, just for trying something different. I'm wondering if because that hardening up of the burn area and the cut, I don't remember that being a problem with the My Uzi Weighs a Ton, which I smoked quite a few of those. So I'm just wondering if the different tobacco in there is causing that. I don't know. So once again, this has been the Kentucky Fire Cured, Just a Friend, Toro. This is Chris, Stogie Palace. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.